Hello, my beautiful soul family, my warriors of love. Welcome to our fourth live call from the series Escape the Soul Trap series. So week one, we focused on, from what I remember, on the actual all the movies and all the research and all the theories, which I believe to be true, about how the light at the end of the tunnel is actually the false light. It's a false light. And here in Costa Rica, there's a lot of moths, and moths are attracted to the flame. So yesterday we were doing a men's workshop up here, and we lit a candle, and all the moths thought that it was like the moonlight. I think moths mate or like hook up under the moonlight. So it's a beautiful metaphor because they saw the candle light, which was the false moonlight, which is interesting because for in the research that I'm finding, it's the moonlight where souls are going to and being recycled back here. That's another thing. To keep it simple, if we are the moth in this metaphor, we're looking at a candlelight and we're like, wow, it's mesmerizing. And what happens when you go there? Right. And we showed you guys several movie scenes. I think I spent the whole week one episode, movie scene after movie scene, about false light, Earth being a prison planet. They're harvesting our energy. They're harvesting our um, we talked about the different levels of beings, um, and Monsters Inc. being this documentary about how they siphon our energy to fuel their world. Yeah. And so the whole thing was movie after movie after movie. So I call that truth in movies. Truth in movies, meaning they're showing it to us in our faces, but we're like, oh, it's a cute movie about monsters. But it's like, no, there's so much fact in there. When Sausage Party, there's so much facts in that movie. They're telling us so much. So the second week, I literally felt guided to, because I had not a strong internet thing, so connection. So I ended up sharing with you guys just what spirit has led me to in the last 7 days at that point, which was all about Jason Giorgiani's work, which just came to me. I call it spiritual investigation. Like I'm asking the universe source, God, 15 years ago, what is the truth about this reality? I take that role of, like a prophet apprentice since I was a kid. I'm like, I need to, that's my path to. And what did the prophets do? They shared truths that were not popular, that were so unpopular and such a threat to the establishment that they actually got killed for it. So it's not the hey guys, think positive thoughts. Like there's tons of people saying that. So the archetype of the person who plays that role is someone who's sharing not popular truths, right? And trying to awaken humanity, and not just through consciousness, but also through truth. So I think in the New Age movement, there's a not so much talk about the importance of truth. So I shared that for 15 years, I've been spiritually guided to investigate different truths. Um, and I'm doing my best to share with you guys, kind of like in those 4 week series that you can always catch the replays on, about what I've discovered. But the second week, we talked about the different like the truth about the UFO movement, because a lot of governments know what the hell's going on, and they're like, yeah, we'll slowly release it. But the truth is, they made a promise with the negative aliens here, uh, who don't have our best interest at heart, to if they even have a heart, like in their minds, but to not share this information. And in fact, there's many you can research, as many people who tried to come out. Yesterday, I learned about a docu series that was on U.S. TV, and it's supposed to be the beginning of disclosure. Disclosure just means they're showing us that they're finally revealing the truth about what they know about UFOs and quote unquote aliens. We even emphasized a lot on week two how we technically the word aliens is not true, because if they've been living on this planet this whole time, and the fact that they are actually just like us, just a little taller, specifically talking about the race that are known as the Nordic beings. Um, so blonde hair, blue eyes, human, but with advanced technology and with potentials to time travel. So how easy would you be able to control a populace if you have advanced technologies and if you can time travel back and forth? And we mentioned how, yeah, they just lost their, it feels like they've lost their heart, that they're harvesting human energy. They treat us as subordinates. How the grays that many people see in UFO things are kind of this like human, organic robot that they create to do all their biddings. So we spent a lot of time discussing that. It's very important, especially when the government says, Trump's like, we're going to tell you guys what's going on, or whatever appears to be Trump saying that. But so I was like, fuck that. Let's share it. Let's get we're the ones who are going to disclose this. We don't need to wait for Big Brother to say, okay, kids, now it's time for us to tell you the truth. We're going to find out the truth on our own. Week 3, we spoke about, does anyone remember it? Oh yeah, thanks. Kiana, in your comment, you gave me the alley oop, you gave me the nudge. New Age. Week 3, we spent the whole time talking about the New Age traps, and um, how some of those traps keep us stuck, and the distortions of the New Age traps. So today we're focusing on solutions, and I have over 100 solutions for you. Let's get into it. So the source of a lot of this information, this is 30 years of research into one website, is called trickedbythelight.com, all one word. And in Tricked by the Light, you'll see that this guy, Wayne Bush, has spent 30 years researching this topic about the false light, and he's been able to connect the dots, see it in music. Songs like Hotel California, You Can Come But You Can Never Leave, which is one of those legendary songs in the US and the rest of the world. And it's saying that it's a metaphor for being on earth. You can come here, but you can never leave. And then there's songs like Stairway to Heaven, also talks about kind of this false light thing. And then so he goes into the songs, the movies, the TV shows, famous books. And in fact, some of the solutions we're going to share today come from that website in the solution section. So let's get into it. Solutions to break free from the soul recycling trap. Step 1, recognize the nature of the system. The first step towards escaping the reincarnation, or he calls it the reincarceration trap, is to recognize the nature of the system designed to convince you to surrender your authority and power to an outside source. So you want to be part of the solution? How much of your power is being given away to others? When I had my awakening at 25, now I started journaling. Like, I take my power back from mom, I take my power back from dad, I take my power back from school, I take my power back from religion, I take my power back from society, I take my power back from the government, from all of that, religion, culture, society. Because as long as you're giving your power away consciously or subconsciously to the authority figures, then you kind of, the game becomes, how do I take it all back? And in every session that I offer, all the work that I do is about reclaiming your infinite freedom, empowerment, and sovereignty. So for those of you who want to go deeper, we have a live call, I believe, next week, where I'll be doing powerful group healings activations on this topic. And then it's for healers, empaths, women on the spiritual journey with life purpose, abundance, and protection themes, empowerment, freedom, and sovereignty themes. We'll do one-on-ones, we'll do hot seats. If you're already subscribed to tariqbb.com, you'll get the email. And then if you show up live, we're also doing one-on-one hot seats. And then we're launching my biggest program up to date, which has 800 activations, which are the real solutions to all these things. Like, you're alchemizing it within your being. Would love to have you be a part of that, because one of the packages, package B, will include the 4 revolutionary live group calls where we actually figure out, we're spending 2 calls, and I think these ones will be on a Saturday, 2 calls to go in between lives explore past lives, future life progression, soul origin, where we come from as souls. Is it the Pleiades? Is it another dimension? Have we always been on Earth for since we've left Source? We'll explore that together. We're gonna write down all this information so you'll be part of the biggest experiment that I've ever heard of, to answer the most important questions that I feel no one really knows the answer to. And for you for those of you who don't know how hypnosis works, is you're tapping into your super conscious mind, which I believe is your soul, spirit, infinite intelligence is the real word for it, I believe, to know these truths. So once the conscious mind's out of the way, which that's part of the mechanism that keeps us not in our power, we're able to fully tap in. And these alien beings, quote unquote, that we talk about, or even spirits, they have the ability to just look at you and go, oh, your biggest fears are this, you believe this, and they use that against us. So if a spirit, has that power, of course we have that power, but this mind mechanism, which some religions and traditions try to show techniques to quiet the mind in order to remember who we are. This is all about the divine remembrance. This is a revolution of remembrance. That's what we're all part of right now. Every one of you who are showing up to these calls, catching the replays, caring about this, wanting to continue the work, you're part of this great, grand experiment, unveiling of the truths, exposing the lies, and helping others. Because when you show up on those calls and you're writing down, everyone's going to have an opportunity to write down in the notes what they've experienced in between lives. And if like 100 of us say, yeah, we saw a being who pretended to be a light being, but then we really saw them to be a dark being, shape shifting, we all experienced going into what we thought was the light, but it actually, and we thought we are going back to source God, but it sucked us back here on earth. And that's why as kids we're crying and we're confused, and which was my experience. And many of us on this call might have experienced that, that I hear of from you, from working with you guys. Um, so then we get to go, statistically, we get to go, okay, this percentage of people did feel they were coerced. And the most important video I shared in week 1 showed that lady who was being coerced into the light. And remember that they also know we have free will. So they can never force us to come back, which is an empowering thought, because that means, oh, as long as I retain my sovereignty, if I go see a doctor and the doctor says, you have cancer, we have to microwave your whole being head to toe, you have the sovereignty to go, no, I'm going to seek out alternative solutions. So recognize the nature of the system. Um, Confinement. Okay, yeah. So yeah, so don't consent to things that are not for your highest good. That's what in the last few years has been the biggest life lesson, biggest lesson collectively, is not saying yes to what's negative intention. Next, awaken to your true essence. How many of us actually experience God? How many of us experience who we truly are? I talked about my experience with magic mushrooms and how that actually revealed to me who I am outside of my ego. Very important, because once you know who you are, you're not able to be mind controlled or told what you're not, right? So if someone in the afterlife says, oh, you messed up, you're a bad person, or like how religions go, you're born out of sin, you're guilty, punishment, judgment, these are all programs used to coerce us. But if you truly remember your sovereign, and we talked about the Gnostics, how they had a direct connection with the source. Um, Even we talked about Jesus and the movement at that time. It was about kingdom of heaven is inside. Um, and then we talked a little bit about the philosophers, Plato, Socrates, about like knowing thyself. All these things are important, because when you know who you are and someone tells you, oh, you're a bad person, blah, 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 you have to come back. You're like, no, I know who I am. I'm sovereign. I don't need to come back. Right. So the next step is practice sovereignty now. How much more can you practice your sovereignty? There's a difference between expressing your truth, being your sovereign self, and being tyrannical or forcing your will on other people. And I think people are afraid to just be in their, they're afraid to say no sometimes. They're afraid to question. We talked about saying yes, your sacred yes, saying your sacred no, questioning, challenging authority are like the most important habits, muscles, tools that we have. And for those of us who are more of a rebellious spirit, which we talked about week two, how there's almost like you can look at life, this world into two mindsets. You've got the rebel spirits who are challenging authority and here to move us forward and help us evolve. And there's the ones, the good boys and girls who follow the rules and but they're actually pushing the agenda unconsciously or consciously of the dark forces. Next step is deprogram. That's what I've started off with, literally. First modality, hypnotherapy, which is about deprogramming, and then it evolved to the infinity healing. But every time you are working on yourself, showing up on these calls, the program I'm about to launch, that's 800 activations to deprogram. These are all ways to help be part of the solution. Deprogramming, clearing. So this one's tricky because this one is like, okay, let's honor the fact that if in the afterlife we end up in that life review place, which I hope you don't, because the truth is we want to just shoot to our final destination and skip that whole bullshit, really. Um, mind trap, mind fuck, trap. Um, for now, the best thing we can do if you feel that might be challenging for you is to clear guilt, clear shame, clear resentment, just clean slate. I think in Hawaiian spiritual cultures they call it being pono, being it's like nothing can be used against you. Your spirit is clean. Your spirit is is not battling itself. It's at peace with itself. So what do you need to do to have your spirit be at peace with itself? And we talked about how having challenging conversations with mom, dad, siblings, exes. If not, then at least we can do it visually with our visualization. But the as long as we gain closure, and that's why the one of the F words that I focus on in my work is the forgiveness, which many traditions talk about the power of forgiveness. It's not just this flaky, like, oh, every time someone messes me up, I'm going to forgive. It's about, I'm not carrying this resentment. I'm not like, if you feel you've done something bad, and then that can be used against you by the dark forces. But the truth is, the force of love loves us unconditionally, from the worst of us to the best of us, because this force isn't oh, you're good, you're bad. That's now we've made it a human. That's a human way of doing things. The force of love is unconditional. And even the darkest forces on our planet still know how to use the forces of the universe for their best. So it does not discriminate. I'm sorry for those of you who are not happy hearing that. We even talked about how those that say, oh, in the afterlife, they're the ones who are going to get it. Sorry, guys, that's also another, you're living in a dream if you think that, because it's here. Like uh, we have to take a stand now. No one else is here to save us. And even in the afterlife, this whole judgment thing has been a trap by the dark forces. So it's almost like all the good boys and girls who are following the rules, hoping that some god judges the bad guys in the next life. Doesn't work that way. That's a fantasy. Pop that bubble, come back to reality, and do what you can here in the now. Detach from worldly attachments. So yeah, I've heard people say this, like, hey, if you were to leave right now, sometimes the I can't leave mom, I can't leave dad, humanity needs me, my wife, my husband, my children. That can be something that is used against you to get you to come back. So the more and more you can get into that state of detachment from any worldly things, then you're more liberated in your soul. And when your time comes, you're at peace with it. So for me, when lockdown happened, COVID happened, and I really thought the worst. I thought everyone who got the vaccination would have been dead by now. So I'm grateful that's not the case. But when I spoke to my whole family that took the jab, I literally used that time. I think I even spent a year with my parents, to be honest. I think it was around a year. And I think now looking back, I was like, normally I only spent 2 weeks, but the point was I really thought that might be the last time I see them. So, and I really gained closure. I finally experienced, my inner child got to experience like what it's been wanting, feeling at home, feeling loved, cared for, all those things. I also overstayed my welcome because Lebanese culture, they don't tell you, okay, it's time to leave. They just keep being hospitable. And I overdid it. I didn't read the room. Just stayed for a long time. But we can laugh about it now, no regrets. So release desires and emotional baggage. So emotional baggage can weigh you down. We talked about the emotions of guilt and shame being one of the densest emotions, and how they can be. That's why there's a term called guilt tripping someone. So till this day, whenever I get the opportunity, I try to guilt trip people. And when they fall for the guilt trip, I'm like, no, you fail. Like I'm trying to get them to practice it here. Because if you're getting guilt tripped here on earth, you're probably going to get guilt tripped up there when you're dealing with the most uh, cunning, sneaky uh, beings on the planet, in the universe, probably. Yeah. So here's a reframe. It's like I really enjoy these things, but I don't need these things. Face your fears, right? I mentioned in the past, not maybe not in this series, how you can play the game of life in many ways. One game of life, the goal is to take your power back from all these things. So whenever, like earlier today, I felt this feeling of like being the quiet, like the quiet, shy kid in class, and not feeling seen, and scared and not included. And it's like, oh, let me sit with this, because the universe is mirroring that back to me for me to take my power back from all those times I've experienced that. So the trauma is still stored. So then you can play the game of life of blaming and being angry at the external, or you can go, this is not happening to me. I'm not a victim. I'm co-creating these experiences. This is all happening for me. And from that reality, it all becomes for you. It all becomes empowering. And then you can go, okay, how can I take my power back from this trauma so I can feel at peace? And it's usually the things that we're terrified of, our ego tries to avoid, tries to control, tries to blame, because all that keeps us stuck in the loops. So face those fears. Every moment you face it, we talk, I usually talk about there's two types of people: the ones that feel the fear and stop themselves from moving forward. That's majority. And this tribe over here, which I would love for all of us to really be a part of, which is we feel the fear, but we still take action. And every time you do that, you're actually taking so much power back um, into your being, because the victim in us wants to give our power away and blame. And by blaming, we're giving our power away. The other mindset is I take full responsibility for my reality. And I might have shared that one moment. Like I was on, I kept being stuck and being broke. And then I kept praying and things would come my way, but I would sabotage them. And then finally I prayed for help. It came my way. I met a mentor and he helped me get to 10K per month. But what I might have not shared is when he said, hey, you want to join? It's 500 a month. And he just like threw the pen on the table. It's like, you want it or not? And I just remember giving all these excuses and blah blah blah. And then I was like, when he did that, I was like, truth is, I want this, and I signed it. And then I was like, just give me a second. I just need to get some fresh air. And I went outside and literally passed out on the grass because it like owning your power can be very scary for someone who spent a lot of time giving their power away. So play the game of taking your power back, face your fears. Next, exercise curiosity with caution. Um, yeah, like just when you're not consciously putting stuff out there, if you're in your unconscious, then you could be unconsciously putting out stuff that comes back to you. Um, so that's why there are practices of meditation, because you're spending more time observing your thoughts than just allowing the thoughts to just continuously. There's a stat you can find that's crazy about how many thoughts we have per day. Probably 99.99999% of the times we're not consciously observing, monitoring, choosing the thoughts we want to put out. That's why I believe, if we are created by an all-powerful creator and only that, then why is it that 99.99999% of the time we're unconsciously thinking our thoughts, right? If we are truly a photocopy of a divine supreme being, then we would have every thought be intentional and conscious. But there's something that's the mind is being used, coerced, targeted by forces to just like a machine, just to keep thinking unconscious thoughts. And it's really with the mind that we're able to be conquered, and we're also able to be liberated. Intuition, intention, and willpower is the next step. Utilizing the powers of intuition, intention, and willpower. For those of you who are in my monthly inner circle, we did a powerful 100 activations to be supernatural, which included all these, the clairs, audience, clairvoyant, clairsentient. So if you guys are not part of that, it's 97 per month. It's an easy way for you guys to say yes to receive these upgrades. And then you have like 2 years worth of previous group calls, and then you've got monthly calls. But every month we're evolving ourselves, activating these powers. So listen to intuition, use your intention, exercise your free will, harness your willpower, strengthen the mental. The next one is maintaining your creative outlets, right? So when we were kids, we were constantly creating. It wasn't about how perfect my art was. It was just the fact that I was creating, right? When we go to the beach, we're creating sandcastles and, gathering shells and just creating, right? So at some point, we might have lost that touch with that. So how can we come back to that is with our creative outlets. And in a world where they just say, no, work, make money, creativity can start. And now like AI is taking over creativity, trying to. So remembering how important creating is, and it's in the word creator, creative. So it actually reconnects us with that we are creators, we can create, and we're creative. Another way out of this mess is daily spiritual practices. We've all heard it: power of meditation, mindfulness, and you decide what meditation is. For someone, sitting down might be a nightmare. So ease into it. Maybe a walking meditation might be a good way to ease into it, because there's still movement, eyes are still open. Maybe find the nearest park and just allow yourself to really, really look at nature. I feel that although nature is a program in this virtual reality, there's beauty in it. There's energy coming out of trees. There's colors coming out of flowers. So you see bees flying around, insects flying around. That just like really gets you into the now moment, because nature's not in a mental state. So it's beaming out presence, beauty, and it's in the word. Nature is natural. So we want to get back to what's natural. We go to nature. Um, and that would be a good start. For me, the objective of meditation isn't to master sitting down in a certain way, certain posture, and mastering not having a single. Yeah, to me, the whole point is what gets me in my body and not in my thoughts. So sometimes when I'm singing, I'm not in my thoughts, I'm in my emotions. When I'm walking, when I'm working out, I could be fully in. Whatever gets me fully in my body, not in my thoughts, is a good start. And there's many things we can do to do that. Balance and moderation, yin yang. light and dark. Um, not, yeah, too much of something. It's like there's these extremes, like full monk mode or full like in the Matrix 9 to 5, and it's like there's a be of the world but not of it. Find your balance, your moderation. Lucid dreaming and out of body practice. This is really powerful. There's a beautiful podcast series out there that talks about autistic children and how they're actually generally way more evolved than most humans because they're choosing not to communicate with words because that's so backwards from their perspective as evolved souls. Evolved souls, and we talked about alien beings, these Nordics and Greys and even entities, they don't use words. They're all telepathic. We're the ones. Um, there's a story in the Bible about the Tower of Babel and how they will all speak different languages and be confused and not be able to talk to each other. Like, what technology was that caused this? And the other day, someone was saying alphabets really keep us in the left brain, which is the masculine brain. And it's not about that it's masculine, that it's bad. It's that it's only one half of the fullness of who we are. Um, so something to look at. But yeah, lucid. So these kids at night are this, if I can remember the podcast, they all go, I'll share it, but they all go to this like astral school. Like they're all going to the same astral school, the scientific studies studying all these autistic kids worldwide. They're all going to this like, what's that school from Harry Potter? Like they're just all going to this wizard school with, magician school, just where they're, or like where they're and I think time is different in the download I got talking about this was that time is different in the dream state because some of these kids never played piano, go to the in the dream state, decide they want to learn how to play piano, then come back in this reality and they're like suddenly they play piano perfectly. So um yeah, so I would say one of the biggest solutions is figuring out how to have lucid dreams. There are some herbs you can take that help you lucid dream better. Um, Trying to remember some of the names. They used to smoke it in ancient Egypt. Blue lotus. Blue lotus is one of the herbs that you can drink as a tea or even smoke. And some mugwort, I believe, you can put it under your pillow and it'll help with that. Just look it up. I'm not an herb expert, but mastering the sleep state. It's like if we're a new civilization that wants to move forward and evolve, we got to master the sleep state. If you have children, teach them to master the sleep state. Basic step number one is just have a dream journal. As soon as you wake up, write down what you can remember. Because think about it, how are we so evolved if when we wake up, we barely remember our dreams? It's like 7 hours of what happened and we only remember a little bit. So clearly there's something for us to explore here. There are hypnosis audios you can listen to that actually train your subconscious to master lucid dreaming. And there's also the art of having out of body experiences. The fast way to do it would be to do something like DMT, and there's a whole world of research about what people are seeing when they do DMT. They all seem to be seeing similar things, similar patterns of like looking at the world as a matrix, zeros and ones, fractals, and sacred geometry. And they all seem to see these like elf type beings who are kind of like, making, they're like the workers making sure that the matrix is all the way it is. Because think about it, we're in a virtual reality and there's like one glitch, it messes up the whole experience. So the maintenance for this matrix is like 24/7. So I don't know what their mechanisms are, but it's interesting that a lot of DMT experiencers, for those of you who don't know what DMT is, it's something that naturally occurs in our third eye that actually helps us have those gets us into a dream state. And it's also something that gets activated when we die, which helps us shoot our souls out of our bodies. And now there are sacred plants that help us do that, like ayahuasca, like even magic mushrooms, and so many other things. So a lot of ancient practices and secret orders doesn't mean that's a bad thing, because they all started off to help empower and enlighten, involve these kind of things. And then when the big religious establishments came along, they all went underground. Some may still be pure, so a lot of them got co-opted. But we as human beings, sovereign human beings, we can go to these sources. And I've been, my go-to for those type of initiations is myself, magic mushroom ceremony, because it's such a great teacher. It's such a great teacher. It's a great teacher, great shaman, great healer. And just be aware of the afterlife traps and the manipulation tactics that the dark forces use against us. Like the other day, I was talking about the toxic relationship between masculine and feminine on our planet, and the powers, the dark forces don't give a fuck about either of us. They just care that we're quarreling amongst each other. And that breaks my heart, because while we're fighting amongst the sexes, dark forces are taking more and more power away from the whole planet. So can we have something bigger, a bigger thing to fight other than each other? Can we all come together with a common goal? Because if we're still doing that, then we've lost the spiritual battle. But if we can get together and put our differences aside, like two warring factions in history are like, hey, we don't like that you do this, you don't like this part of us, but like, you know what? We both don't like those guys. So let's set our differences aside and unite. And if we really, as a whole world civilization, all of us realize there is a force on this planet, and it looks at us as slaves, and that's the origin of humanity. Supposedly, it's a theory. We can also uncover that in the hypnosis. It's like going all the way back to when man was first created. Who are the beings who did that? Get clear on that, and how were we, like, what was distorted in our DNA that's keeping us trapped, and how do we alchemize that? Very important questions. Um, yeah. So being aware of these things, being aware of the manipulations, and overriding them. The tunnel of light traps. So we talked about this in week one. If you've missed it, check out week one whenever you can. Some of the feedback we've gotten here is that it's so fun to just learn this, because it's like very important information, but you're doing it through movies, which is a very non-threatening way to do it. And yeah, I feel like I'm transmitting it from a place of passion. And so, yeah. And just a heads up, there are some people who, when they digest this information, they lose the plot. They check out, they go crazy. It's not, there's a reason why not everyone's on this call. Even if everyone was free, it's not for the majority of people. And I say that meaning most people just, they want to stay, life is already hard enough. You don't want to add more. You don't want to take, you don't want to make them more hopeless. They don't want to be more feeling heavy and feeling lost and confused. So sometimes the mind just wants to be like, hey, like, I remember talking to family members, and they're like, I know there's probably crap in this jab, but you know, I'm still gonna do it, right? So it's like that, to that degree, that the mind is like, that's what everyone's doing. There's comfort in like following, for some people, following the majority, fitting in. We talked about how if you were let's say you were a king and queen in a past life, you came into this life, and everyone around you was poor. Some souls will literally drop their wealth quotient, let's call it, to fit in. That's why one of the biggest tips they say is surround yourself with people who are where you want to be, or past where you are, because I remember once seeing this tree and it was all by itself and it was like a dwarf tree. I was like, why is this tree so short? It's like half my size. I've never seen a tree. And it's an old tree. It's not like a baby tree. It stuck out for me like till now. And it's this beautiful metaphor of there was no trees around it to show it that that's not natural. Meanwhile, you go way past there to where the forest is and they're all ginormous trees. So surround yourself with the right people. Okay. So we talked about week one that the avoid the false light. It's a trap. We talked about these beings who show up as Jesus, your loved ones. They're not the real deal. They are shapeshifters, like the character Genie in Aladdin, who can shapeshift. The word genie comes from the word jinn, which is another word for demon, demon spirit, demiurge, depends on which like the wordings, but it's all saying the same thing. So there's the reunion trap. You may be presented with a false reunion. Hey, if you go back, we'll reunite you with mom, with your dad, with your loved one, with your pets. Um, but it could just be used to control you. So this is really important. It's called the love bomb. Why is it that all these souls are hypnotically and one of the videos we showed where the moth was like, the light is so beautiful. I can't stop myself. And then their friend was like, don't do it. It's like, it's so mesmerizing. And then it just dies. So that's literally some kind of evil technology that somehow transmits euphoric, ecstatic bliss transmission that just hypnotizes us. Like, you got to snap out of that. So not all so this is what 95% of the near-death experiencers share is that it was beautiful, it was lovely, it was blissful, but that's all part of the trap. Don't fall for it. This is my perspective. Take it or leave it. The life review trap. The life review is a trap. We talked about one of the videos where the guy goes, so in ancient Egypt, if your heart weighed more than a feather, if your heart did more bad things than a light feather, then you basically get devoured by some demigod, and you don't pass the test, you don't go to the afterlife. So that was the program in ancient Egypt. A nation where they built pyramids that we're still scratching our heads, being like, how did they do that? So they were very sophisticated. They were very aware of the powers and the magic and afterlife. Their whole life was preparation for the afterlife. They knew way more about the afterlife than we did, and it was big part of their collective awareness. But yes, they still had the trap because the same beings that are trapping us now with the programs of judgment day and God will judge you based on your sins. And there are angels in the Quran. It talks about we have angels literally writing down all our good deeds and bad deeds. And if there's more bad than good, then we go to hell. Like, what a load of crap. So it's just remixing the same traps, just maybe they're refining it more and more. The karma trap is another one. So I always tell people unsubscribe from the karma program. Um, because that can keep you coming back over and over again. You are a sovereign being. You don't need to come back and learn anything. You don't need to come back and forgive anything. You don't need to come back and make any rights of your wrongs. Like, I recommend doing that for yourself to feel at peace, but not because God will punish you. This is a good one. Mentally practice your death. So when lockdown happened, I grieved the old world because I'm like, the world's never going to be the same again. This is the beginning of a whole different, they call it the Great Reset. So it's a whole new way of being. So the luxuries of continuing a life of being able to zone out on Netflix and order Uber Eats and order things from Amazon and just be a lone wolf. Like, that's not going to work in the new world. So you either get that microchip in your brain and Neuralink in your brain, which is already out there, and become half robot, which is already happening, nanoparticles and human beings. Like there's already a schism, there's already a split happening, and move into smart meters and have smart cars that tell you how far you can drive. Or you go into this other reality where you go, no, I'm keeping my sovereignty and I'm going to do what I can to create as much sovereignty, as much freedom as possible, meaning I have my own home, I collect my own water. I mean, however you want to finesse it. But maybe I have a friend here who's in the system and he gets me everything, she gets me everything, or screw it, I'm done playing this game, I'm out of here. You decide, like whatever it is for you. But for me, if I am gonna stay here, I have to have a mission and a purpose bigger than me. And I have to experience if I'm just surviving, might as well exit. We're not here to survive, we're here to thrive. And if it's just about us, it's not worth it either. So you have to find your why, guys. So mentally practice your death. Grieve the old world. I grieve losing my parents because I thought that would happen. I would grieve. Yeah, I would also. Oh, I could die like literally every day that I wake up and it's the world's still kind of how it is. I go, wow, I get another day. So literally every day, the warrior mindset is I could die any day now. And there's a process you go through to making sure you're at peace with that. You're not resisting it, you're not fearing it. And what I would like to do, to be honest, once we have 100, maybe 1,000, why not a million people doing this, we can kind of gather what the false light looks like, what happens when you go into the void. There's even a fake void, so how do we know the difference? Um, and then what I would like to do is create with AI um, a simulation so we can literally practice what I believe to be the most important thing no one's doing. We get to practice going into that simulation. Are we getting guilt tripped? Did we go into the false light? Did we go into the other thing? What is the other thing? So this is from all my research, it concluded with if you don't know where you're going when you die, then you're going to be easily, it's like in life, if you don't have a North Star and a mission and a purpose, then somehow life finds a way to get you to do what it wants to do. So if you don't have a final destination, you could get lost. So then a very important question becomes, what are our options? And this is where the discovering, did we truly come from these other planets and other constellations, other universes, other galaxies, other dimensions? Because I found very little information when I used to do hundreds of regressions. I'm like, where are the people that are coming from outside of this planet? Why is it always here? So what are our genuine, like I want to have a bunch of people say, yes, I was in the Pleiades and this is what it's like. And, you know, just we need that information. We need to know what the options are. Where did we, where is home for us? Like I remember the turtle. I feel like a turtle here. Like my home is just where my body is. There's no place on this earth that I feel like this is my home because this is not really my home. This is not where I belong. I'm far from home. So, how are we feeling so far? Any questions, comments, concerns? Hey, Rosemary, welcome back. Good to see you. Hey, Don, Kim, Linda, Lindsay, Saiba, Zaid. Nice to have you all here. Say no to the microchip. So, like 10 years ago, I had a free album called Not for Sale. And the cover is Jesus, Satan offering Jesus the world, and Jesus saying, "Get behind me, Satan." And it says, "Say no." So it's not for sale. Say no to the microchip. Um, Feeling great, taking it all in. Thanks for letting me know, Lindsay. Kiana, is it anything like the book plus movie 90 Minutes in Heaven? I haven't seen that one, Kiana. Please put in the comments what you like. Do you feel that's touching on this topic? I'm gonna open it up now and check it out later. Oh, the dogs confirmed it. 90 minutes in heaven. Okay, what else we got here? I'm sensitive to light. I'm going for a flight in the starlight. Why I like most people can't handle the truth to why only so many are here. Yeah. Help you remember your dreams when you first wake up. Stay in the same position. Close your eyes and ask, what are you doing, buddy? What are you doing? Wild dog. Close your eyes and ask, little dream, come to me, and stay still for 5 minutes with your eyes closed. It should come to you. Cool. I like that process. So you wake up, close your eyes, ask, little dream, come to me, come to me, come to me. Kiana, I have had lucid dreams and journeying dreams. Very cool. Saiba, my daughter, lucid dreams. Very cool. Hogwarts school from Harry Potter. Okay. Awesome sauce. So we're 1 hour into it. Let us keep it going. Okay. Yeah. So I'd like to create a simulation with AI that shows us what happens. So if you join us for the offer through the Life Reawakened, you will be helping us in creating this AI simulation that can help us once and for all escape the soul recycling trap. Include potential challenges, visualize common afterlife traps or manipulations. So yeah, from the books that I've read, they literally try so hard. Like they're bargaining with you. They're like, they just know your weak points, like a narcissist knows. Yeah, mama. Like a narcissist knows how to manipulate an empath. They just know. So they're like, hey, okay, you suffered a lot last lifetime. This time we'll make you sure you're a queen, you're a king. Oh, you've got so much money. You've got the best life partner. You've got, the best children. You have safety, you have security. Like they just want you back here and they'll do whatever. There was even this one near-death experience where the person was like, oh, okay, we won't. They're like, nope, I'm done with the planet. Never come back. Nope, nope, nope. Whatever they said, he was like, nope. And they're like, okay, we'll send you into this like higher dimensional realm. So it's like a, it's like a matrix, but it's like a heavenly matrix, but it's still a matrix. So apparently it goes from this one book, it's like 15 dimensions of realities that are all created by these false gods. So don't fall for that one. Yeah, so it's very normal in that moment to feel confused, sad, longing, joy, like everything your ego's ever known here is just gone. Why do we keep coming back? Because it's like all we've known. And some of us, maybe it's like someone leaving their home country, immigrates to another country, and they just like they don't go back because even if they left a war-torn country to experience going somewhere else, and then the war stopped back home, there's this like part of us that's very survival minded that it's like doesn't even go back. It just finds a way to make the new place their home, even though it's missing something very deep. You just like adapt and you forget, some of us. So practice choosing your destination. Consider a darkness retreat. So this is really powerful. There's all these retreats now where you go in and you're blindfolded. The whole room is complete pitch black, and it activates your DMT. And these are actual ancient initiation rituals, actually. Uh, but the part they don't do that ancient rituals used to do is you're dark in the dark, 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 and then right at the right during sunrise, your brothers are holding you or your friends are holding you, and then right in that moment, after days and days and days of no light, you peel off the blindfold and you look into the sun rising, and you have this huge because there's so much DMT build up in your third eye, and then you're just explosive third eye activation. So yeah, darkness retreats are pretty cool. Very important. Like even if you're not sure in this moment, maybe just writing, journaling, like, okay, because it could happen any second, right? Any like today, before the end of the day, we could potentially die. So at least writing down, okay, in that moment, I'm going to I'm going to pause everything around me and reclaim I'm sovereign, I'm sovereign, I'm sovereign. Like just have have something so that what like for me, I get very fired up in relationships, sometimes my Aries part. So for me, there's a pause. As soon as we both say pause, we all pause. So what's a trigger for you? Something that can anchor you in that moment that then just activates, oh yeah, I remember these are the steps I'm gonna do. Someone's trying to talk to me, I'm gonna say not right now. I'm being drawn to the light and I practice going away from the light. Like just start writing down what you want to do to stay in your center. Oh, cool. And he has offered us here afterlife affirmations, which we can actually encode with Infinity Healings if we want. Would you guys like that? So recommended do's and don'ts. Don't go to the light or the tunnel. Don't be seduced by any feeling of love. We talked about the love bomb. I'm just gonna grab some water, guys. Don't be seduced by the love bomb. Don't trust any being, no matter how loving or familiar. Right? We talked about them being shapeshifters. Don't engage with any unwanted encounter. Teleport yourself out of there. Don't consent to anything, especially mind wipes. Guys, those mind wipes, we're consenting to them. Hey, if we erase your memory, then it'll give you a fresh start. It's going to help you. Like the new age always sugarcoats these things. Oh, no, yeah, we're here to learn. But when we come back, we forget everything we've learned. So, like, yeah, because it's going to help you have a better experience not knowing who you really are. Doesn't make sense. Don't consent to life reviews. Don't consent to judgment. So for me, I'm going to write down in my journaling, I do not consent, I do not consent, I do not consent. But remember, we don't even want to go to the place where we have to not consent. We want to completely bypass that, right? There's everything's trying to suck us in here, and we want to go there. There's this really cool movie called this guy's an insider director for sure because he created 12 Monkeys, which was basically showing you what happened in the last few years in a movie from the 80s, like a virus that's going to spread all over the world. Um, and time traveling. Very cool movie. It's called 12 Monkeys. And not to be mistaken with the series. I haven't seen the series, but the movie. And that same director has this movie called Parnassus, Dr. Parnassus. And there's a scene where they finally get to like the stairway to heaven. And right before that, there's a character that plays Satan. And at least the biblical way of looking at Satan. And then he's like, oh, there's a bar right over here, right before I go to the stairway to heaven. And he's like, oh, I'll just have a drink. And then that becomes a trap to suck his soul. That would be a good one to like share in the Truth in Movies. I might do another series later. Don't consent, don't consent, don't get baited into conversations, debates. It's just like in life, right? Like when your partner or family members trigger, they're trying to suck you in. And when you just don't give into it, which is for me very challenging, then you're staying in your power. But as soon as you find a way to react, then you kind of get sucked in and you give your power away. Dudes, declare, I am sovereign, free, and in control. Let's say it together. And on heart, would you like an infinity healing? To download the following affirmations and alchemize it, transmute anything that's in the way of it happening right now. Would you like that? Okay. So let's say it together. I am sovereign. I am free. I'm in control. I'm permanently protected. Invisible to dark forces. Indetectable from them. and free from their interference. Would you like to download that? I permanently let go any parasites, attachments, addictions. Permanently let go implants, false imprints, tracking devices, negative programming. I make null and void any contracts not for my highest good. You could just say yes to these agreements, permissions with all deceptive entities or negative systems. I reclaim my infinite energy, power, freedom, and sovereignty. I declare freedom from fear, envy, lust, hate, anger, greed, jealousy, regret, guilt, grudges, and unfulfilled desires, such as unrequited love or unfinished business. Yes, I move inward to the innermost core of my true essence and permanently dissolve all illusions. Yes, I transcend duality beyond all deceptive matrices forever. Yes, I declare I am safe in a state of absolute, clear, pure awareness. Fully awake, fully conscious. Yes, I declare I'm free forever, full of joy, peace, and serenity. Yes, I declare focused intention and fierce willpower. I declare I'm independent and in control. I recollect my memories of who, what, and why I was before I took any form. I always remember the true essence of who I am. Would you like that? I assess all experience options available and I manifest anything at will, should I ever choose to do so. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And so it is. All right, bring yourselves back. We're almost done here, guys. It's going to be short. I just remembered that we didn't complete the New Age traps. And so this will be continuing the New Age traps from number 7. I believe it went up till 10. So let's take it from number 7. That's funny because we mentioned forgiveness today. So the shadow of forgiveness, so a lot of these things are misunderstood. So forgiveness, the toxic forgiveness is, oh, this person did something bad to me, I forgive them today. Then they do something bad tomorrow, I forgive them again. So if they're not sorry about it, why are we forgiving? So learning how to not be so soft and always forgiving. So there's a toxic version of that where you're just almost enabling. So that's with the New Age, these concepts become like a universal thing. Like it almost becomes dogmatic. And it's like, I always need to forgive in every situation. Number 8, chaos should be feared and that we need to be controlled. So in chaos, everything's out of control and the trap is that we need control. We need people to control. We need to be controlled because chaos is something to be feared. The correction is chaos is the teacher. We can learn from chaos. Talks about anarchy. If you break it down, it just means without masters, not what Hollywood shows us as like extreme anger and weapons, and not without masters. It doesn't mean not without law, right? So we talked about natural law versus rules that humans have created. So you're just aligned with those natural principles of not harming others unless they're coming to harm me. Um, so rules versus laws. So Archon, we talked about the Archons, which are like the demons and how they rule us from the spirit realm. So anarchy just means uh an anarchist is like it's like anti-Archon. I'm like, I don't need you to rule me. No rulers, no masters. No masters, no slaves. Number 9 is enlightenment is only about changing yourself. I can't do anything out there. I only go within. It's only about me, my meditation, my practices, nothing out there. The end goal is only to feel good all the time. But the truth is, true enlightenment is responsibility to truth. This is the missing part in the new age. And talk, so everything we talked about today, these are truths that I have prayed for and spent 15 years trying to put together. And it doesn't mean it's I'm saying you have to believe it's true, but I have come to realize it's true. So if all of us are researching and we're all coming to similar conclusions, that means we're coming to conclusions of truth. But New Age tells you no, every person can create their own truth. There's no real one truth, you know? Um, so true enlightenment is responsibility. Now that I've received truths, I'm responsible to share these truths. Um, so above all else, seek truth, speak truth. Carl Jung talked about you get enlightened by making the darkness conscious, right? That's where shadow work comes along. And to me, also, I would interpret that like darkness is these things we're not told about, right? This is the great work. Truth should make you feel uncomfortable, right? So they didn't kill Jesus because he was just a loving person. They killed him because he was sharing truths that were challenging the system. What do you mean don't go to temple? That's how we make money. Like the priest class at the time where like people come to us, they pay us money, they need us. And then Jesus comes along and goes, no, kingdom of heaven's within you. That you don't need to go to temple to connect to God. God is in everything and everyone. Kill him. Number 10, truth doesn't need to be defeated. What did I write here? Defeated. Never confront anyone. Oh, defended. Yeah. Never confront anyone on their bullshit. Truth can never be destroyed. And the whole truth about masculine and feminine, it's being resilient, using our will, the resilience and the will of the divine masculine that exists in all of us um, can then create a safe space for the divine feminine to come forward as long as the divine feminine is not feeling safe because the divine masculine is not creating a safe container, then divine feminine is not there. Women are in their masculine and men are in their feminine, and we are fucked. Frequency versus vibration. Very important. I talked about this before. But yeah, that concludes it. That concludes it, guys. Thank you so much for being here. Any questions, comments, or feedback before we conclude? Saiba, thank you for the infinity healings. You're very welcome. There's say that you're stuck here living the same day over and over again. Yeah. Groundhog Day. What would I experience if I do not choose to go into light? Zaid is asking, what would I experience if I do not choose to go into the light or take up any offer? Very interesting question, Zaid. So last time I did this regression with a few of you guys um, on the last summit, um, there was this lady who wrote down in the Google Drive. So once you guys, if you sign up, we'll share this Google Drive. You can read everyone's. And hers was, I was presented with the light, a door that leads to the light. I was presented with a door that led to the void. And she literally, excuse me, she literally chose neither. So it's almost like they were both traps. And all it took was just being in the not making a decision for like a minute. And then she just exploded into everything and everyone, which is maybe that was the right way out, is to be your infinite self. So yeah, great question, Zaid. See, it's like that's what we need, is like questioning and thinking outside the box. There's a lot of questions regarding 90 minutes in heaven and others that have said that they've had similar seeing experiences of light or something very similar. Yeah, by the way, guys, if you research what happens with light beings and going through light, it's all um, a lot of it is going to seem beautiful and lovely and all that kind of stuff. So I'm not saying you won't find that. In fact, you'll find 90% of that. 95% of the information is that. I'm sharing what most people won't share, right? Because it's almost like the beings on the other side are like, oh, wait, we have a soul who's having near-death experience. Let's make sure that this experience is so beautiful and loving so they can go back to Earth and tell everyone how beautiful and loving it is so that the program continues. So they become the promotion tools unwittingly, not aware. They're not aware, but they're like I said before, if there's a lot of books out there about near death and it's all saying it's love and light, then it's not the truth, right? That's my formula, is like if there's an abundance of that information out there and if everyone can access it, then it's probably not the truth. Uh, okay, great. Yeah, you're very welcome, Lindsay. Welcome, Joanne. Welcome, Ginny. Every little thing's gonna be all right. This is playing in the background. Just checking if I missed any questions. Okay, yeah. So call to action. If you guys are feeling a call to do something about everything we've talked about, I'm just going to share a link here. So if you're already signed up to Targ BB, then it'll show up there. And so if you can just mark your calendars for this important date where I'll be doing a live call. My battery's about to die. So yeah, just I would say that's it. Just targbv.com. And if you go to targetbb.com, make sure you sign up for the newsletter there. Make sure you're getting the emails in your inbox. If not, check your junk mail promotions. And then just mark your calendars for next week, where we'll be doing a live call on the Life Reawakened Summit. They bring together some of the world's best, biggest healers. Honored to be a part of that conversation, sharing that stage online. And that'll happen at 11 a.m. Eastern, Wednesday, November 19th. And on that day, I will launch this amazing program with all the things we talked about, the live calls, the regressions, and all that. Would love to have you be part of that. Thank you guys so much for being with me on this journey. Please share this far and wide once the videos are out there. Love, love, love. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Blessings. Thanks, Lindsay. Thanks, Rosemary. Thanks, Sideball. Thanks, Tara. Thanks, Zaid. Love you. And if you missed week 1, 2, 3, please check it out. And yeah, check out. There's so many more resources. Everything I've shared, that like the one guy, Jason Giorgiani, that's like 10 books there. Oh, thanks, Rosemary. And the one Tricked by Light, spend like weeks digesting all that info. So there's more if you care about this info. All right. See you soon. And if you guys want my support, we're getting great. Yeah, thanks, Rosemary. Thank you. Thanks. For those of you who are like, I'd like a boost in my life purpose, I'd like a boost in my abundance, there's that WhatsApp group. We've gifted 100 abundance activations. You can get the whole program now at a discounted rate for only 99. It's even more when we launch it on Irams. And then yeah, would love to see if you can join Package B, where we can do those group calls together. And for those of you who want my one-on-one support, last guy I worked with said he made 75,000 in Money Miracles within 2 sessions. So if anyone needs a boost in their purpose, abundance, health stuff, relationship stuff, just reach out to me through Tark BB. It'll be a healing section, healing form request, and we can hop on a call, see how I can support you. Love you guys. Stay sovereign. I'll see you on the next one.